lovely ink rows. In case of emergency, your exits are there, and we will now give you death by PowerPoint.
And now Alex Harper personal wallet.
You are one of the few people who I know.
Okay, so why should you accept or give critique? Well, I feel the best way to learn is through examining.
It
doesn't like you. Alright.
I don't necessarily eat that.
This is the biggest example of critique being effective. Welcome to Chipper and Sons Lumber Company. This is a game released on Steam Greenlight. The game was Okay. This game was criticized for two major things. The models of the animals looked unnerving rather than cute. I believe the Jim Sterling Squirty Play subtitle was, "I'll swallow your soul." I mean, look at those eyes. They stare into your soul. And the animations look stiff and robotic. Now, the creator, he could have done many things with this criticism. He could have said, "You all suck. I hate all of you. You're just not accepted. I'm new. I'm young. I'm not planning to be professional." But instead, he, as the classy man that this man is, he took what people said in stride and rolled with the criticism. He said, "Oh, he said, "Oh, these things look unnerving. Maybe I should play more to that. These things look stiff and robotic. Maybe I should play more to that." And what did he create? Because Scott Hawthorne listened to his critics, because of that, he was able to create one of the biggest money-making franchises in video game history. That, right there, Five Nights at Freddy's, is the reason why critique should be given and taken.
He did the exact opposite of what those people would do.
Yes, and that's what we're here to do. That's right. So I'm going to be representing the critic in this scenario, and she's going to be representing the creator in all of these scenarios. Yes, the Fire Rose art has a purpose. So,
The purpose of critique is so that artists and creators can improve. It's supposed to nurture the good within while finding ways to change the parts that aren't working as well.
So is that, I believe Silver Quill said the idea of we do not criticize people, we criticize ideas. So yes. That's it. Learning how to take critique and learning how to give critique are skills that need to be developed if you are going to survive in this world.
Especially in the art world and any kind of production, you need to learn that taking critique is an extremely good lesson to learn.
Could someone hit the red button on that?
Press the red button.
Alright. Now, critique is a give and take. Both the critic and the creator have to receive and give it well in order for it to be effective.
It takes both of you to accept and receive critique well in order to be effective. Just as you have every right to give criticism, the creator also has every right to ignore it. No one is entitled to an audience.
Yes.
Accepting and giving critique are acquired skills, and it can take a while to learn how to properly do so.
Yes, we're not, at the end of this panel, you're not going to be an expert at giving critiques, but we are going to give you some easy tips. That's where you can start.
And I have a few examples that were actually given to me on some of my art that I'm going to be showing. So I do have some examples of what a good critique pretty much is. Humility is a very big part of this as well for both sides.
Amen. Yes. Yep. You need to be humble. You need to realize that. Yes.
Yeah, you're an excellent example of that.
Well, yes, my YouTube personality is I'm a very handy and egocentric individual, and sometimes in real life I do like to surf on websites just to find more artwork and mentions of myself. But yes.
Everyone does that.
Everyone does it. But the thing is like you gotta be humble. You can't get angry. You can't get sad. You have to be humble about this. And the thing is that There's this attitude that people have. It's like, I have this, she has this, you have this, you have this, you have this, you have this. It's this attitude of I and me is always right. It's something that everyone has, and it is tough as nails to try and fight.
Like all spawners, DD 101.
What? What?
Moving on.
Okay.
How to not accept
How to
critique.
not accept critique. Here we have the drama queen. These people take critique as an attack against them personally. And sometimes this reaction is warranted. I mean, to many a creator, their creation is their baby. And yeah, it's understandable that you might get a little upset, but there are people who take it a little too far. Here are some of their common battle cries.
She abused me and abused my art. Warn the others. Do not let this person critique anyone else. She disagreed with me. What a jerk.
So yes, you probably know what kind of people I'm talking about. So everyone's probably had this reaction at one point or another when you created something. Now, unfortunately, there's no way to deal with these kinds of people. All you can do is just wait for them to mature on their own. If they react
down.
Yes, if they react badly, just.
What are you talking about? My work is the best thing in the world. You're just a jerk for not thinking it's good at all. Go away from me. Stay away and do not critique my work ever again. Jerk!
Alright, next we have the stylist. Yes, that is drawn badly on purpose. Here we have the stylist. You know those people who try to pretend all of their mistakes are intentional? It's like look at this. It's like the front legs are too small compared to the back legs, and the tail is not drawn.
It's just my style. Shut up. God.
Yeah, you know those people who say don't like, don't read.
Don't explain the joke.
Yeah, you know, it's like I remember commenting on a video. It's like, hey, you did this little mistake. You need to watch that next time. And then he said, shh, don't explain the joke. I'm like,
What?
what's the joke? What is the joke? You made a mistake.
There's no right way to do art. I can do it that way if I want to. It's my style. It's just subjective.
Ew, that word, subjective.
I can make the head 3 times the size of the body if I want to, even if it doesn't look right. I don't care. It looks right to me. It's my style.
This is another part where you just go, yeah, I'm not touching that can of words. It's like, you know those fact/opinion or objective/subjective debates? I can't tell you how many times I've been suckered into those. That do not fall into those traps. They are a waste of time, and you both come out of it feeling miserable.
So what if my art is just a big block of red? That doesn't matter. It's modern art. It's fine. So what if I didn't put anything work into it? It's fine. It's my style. It means something to my soul.
I'm sorry. I'm having a bunch of unpleasant flashbacks. Here's one of my favorites. The Pouty Princess.
Oh no.
Alright, this person comes up with plenty of excuses as to why they should only have good comments.
I never asked for criticism. I'm not planning to be professional anyway. I'm young. It's just for fun.
So yeah, these people say if you don't have anything nice to say, well, shut up.
You can't comment on my artwork with any kind of criticism because I think that's not a good thing to do.
I mean, the thing is, if you put something on the internet, you can't expect only good comments. That is freaking entitled. You cannot expect only good comments.
But I told them I only want good comments, and that's because it is my comment section. I get to decide.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that this video was edited poorly. It's not your right because it's my video. I'm going to just turn off the comment section if you're going to do that.
Yes, it's like the problem with the pouty princess is saying that I don't want to hear you unless you are kissing my butt. That is the problem with the pouty princess. And doesn't that sound incredibly arrogant and entitled? It just drives me nuts. And
You're just jealous.
yeah. And so, do not call these people out publicly. If you know someone's acting like a pouty princess, just send them a private message and be on your way. Just don't touch them with temple. Oh, here's something that I've been incredibly guilty of.
Cherry picker.
The cherry picker. These are more aggressive versions of the pouty princess. Whenever someone criticizes their work, they cherry pick and judge their critics like they have some sort of critique club.
If you can't make my art better than I can, then shut up! I demand a source on this comment.
Yes, these people demand sources. I demand sources so many times, and I'm trying my best to stop it.
Trying is the best thing you can do.
Yes, yes. It's like these people say, you have to know how to draw in order to criticize my drawing. And then I just want to point at Roger Ebert, hello. And it's like, it's Evil Overlord Rule 12. If a 5-year-old child can find a flaw with my plan, then I should not put that plan into motion.
Even though Justice Dawn doesn't have the best animation, you can't comment on that because you know what? You can't animate.
I remember criticizing a certain fan animation. I will not name this person because I do not like calling people out. But this particular person went totally aggressive on me, saying, "You can't animate, so you should shut up." It was.
But they are in there.
Yeah, I'm just like, dude, guys, where are the sound effects? Yes, your backgrounds are nice. Your animation is very smooth and flowing, but the voice acting is not good. The story is absolutely, positively foggy and cryptic.
What the heck's going on?
Yeah, what the heck is going on? It's like, oh, but this
You don't know how to do sound design like I do, so you should just shut up right now.
Yes, these people, they are incredible. They are aggressive and defensive at the same time, if that makes sense. You have to reinforce that you are there to help and not calling them out.
And they start calling you names as well.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you're just super negative. You're just jealous, like that. Oh, here's another one that a lot of people recently have been relating to. The doormats. These are people who accept all critiques. They like any comments. Every criticism is welcome. Come to me, everyone. Critique my work.
I kind of started out like that.
Please write your criticism below. My work isn't all that great. Criticism is super helpful.
It's like, whenever someone says, write their criticism below, that is the immediate cue that this person has absolutely no confidence in their abilities. And they are going to be...
That's like preseason 5 flower shine.
Yeah, and whenever someone says that, I just want to grab them by their shirt and say three things.
I do that. I say, hey, here's the picture. Tell me what you think about it. It's not always that you're a doormat. Sometimes you literally just want legitimate criticism.
Yes, sometimes it is, but the page that your criticism's below, it's a huge red flag.
But it's not necessarily true, so it can be fine.
Yeah, it's like sometimes whenever these people just accept every criticism, they just have no confidence whatsoever in their work. I just want to grab them by their shirt and say three things. First thing, grow a spine. Second thing, not all criticism is valid. And the third thing, and this is very important, pay attention to it, that criticism is not the only way to improve. It is not. And it drives me nuts that people think that critique is the only way to improve. There are many other ways that you can improve. You gotta encourage these particular people, you gotta encourage to seek out tutors or guidebooks rather than seeking online critique. It's like, there are many avenues to improve. And online critique, yeah, it's cheap and it's efficient, but a lot of times you're not gonna get a professional opinion. And this is how not to give a critique.
Now for this one, we got the first one, which is the drill instructor. They are foul-mouthed, negative, and pretty much just not funny. They're well-intentioned, but also malicious, and they can make good sound bad. The way they word things is just not helpful whatsoever.
I just want to see you improve, you worthless pile of... Oh, don't call me out on my behavior. I'm preparing them for the real world, because the real world is not nice. Even though I have the choice to make it better for everyone else, I'm gonna be exactly like the world and not make it a better place because the world can't be changed. Have you ever? Tell me if you've experienced this form of verbal judo in critique. It's someone is like incredibly nasty in like their first couple paragraphs. They just lay into you. Use so many curses and phrases that I should probably not even hint at. And then at the final sentence, they say, "I just want to see you improve." And that way, when any defense, any calling them out, you look like the bad guy. I hate when people do that. It's a verbal judo that drives me nuts. You've seen that? Who here has seen that?
Yeah, you have to be, when giving a critique, you can't just, using curse words and critiques are especially annoying because they make it seem like the person who's making the critique is just
arrogant.
Not just arrogant, but immature and don't know how to form their thoughts without making a verbal curse word. So usually if there's a lot of cursing in a critique, that can be a good indicator to just throw it out.
It's a red flag.
It's a red flag, yes.
It's because cursing, or even fake cursing. I don't curse, but even when I fake curse at people, like find me in the Alps, that sets people off. That does. The intent is still there, even though I fake curse. It still makes people angry. And the thing is, these people, they have a very, very poor mindset. They mean well. Some of them do want to see you improve, but
the way they phrase things
does
not help.
It's like that scene from Patch Adams. It's like, I help people, but you suck at it.
Take their critique in stride. They usually have good things to say, so do your best not to get too upset. Their words may have to be translated, in other words.
Yeah.
This one. The sketchy bro reaches for many flowery buzzwords to try to sound smart when they're making a critique. May cite dubious credentials. These are the kind of people that try to sound extremely elite when they're talking about your work and pretend as if they're someone who really has a good opinion and they must be listened to because they are apparently experts in the subject.
Oh, trust me, I'm a professional, so I know what I'm talking about. I'm college educated. I'm a writer, so I know what I'm talking about. I'm a professional video editor, so I know what I'm talking about. And there's no way you can prove that.
Unless you actually, if there's an artist critique you know for sure is a great artist, you can look at their DeviantArt, for example, then you obviously should take some of their work with at least a grain of salt, but it also pretty much depends on how they phrase what they're talking about. If they are treating you like an underling, as if your work is not nearly as great as theirs, and they are so much better than you because of their experience, then even though you can take the critique and see what you can improve on your artwork from that critique, it's still not a really good critique because it makes you feel horrible.
Yeah, and also, oh, but you're not doing it right. Here, I'm not smart enough to articulate why you are wrong, and I don't really know what I'm talking about, so let me link you to this 30-minute YouTube video that explains your mistake. Your stupid, stupid mistake that I'm still not smart enough to articulate. What is it?
Don't debate semantics with them. Try looking for the intention because they obviously can't articulate it well. This one is one I experience a lot. Zealot. Opposite of drill and structure, destructively positive. Easily impressed and gets excited over lots of different things. Oh my God!
Well, there goes my game. Yeah. You see, destructive positivity.
helpful whatsoever.
I mean, they can be helpful because they can point out parts of a picture that they really like, and that could be great to show you what you can do more of. But they also need to keep in mind that the artist is opening up themselves for critiques because they also want to learn where they can improve. So you can say a bunch of good things about them, that's all right, but if you're trying to make a really legitimate critique, like as if you're actually trying to help them get better, then try to put at least one thing you think they could improve on, even if it's something very small, because that can be very helpful.
You put the companion cube in the background! This is the best thing I've ever seen!
Oh, you made a reference! That's amazing! This is the best thing ever!
Yes, this is something I want to talk about. Destructive positivity.
It's okay to leave a small comment saying something really nice, but if you're trying to leave like a long critique to help improve, then yes, try to put something that they can improve. Again, but it's not a bad thing to be positive. Of course
My
not.
teacher said they were a blow, a row, and another one.
That's awesome, yeah.
We're going to talk about that. Alright, so...
Appreciate the compliment, but don't indulge too much on these kind of people because they jump food for your ego. So definitely take their words, put them in your heart, make that help you feel happy, but also make sure you know you're still not the best at everything and you gotta still improve.
The elitist.
Simply knows better. Won't directly say you're a bad person for disagreeing, but highly implies it.
Well, you're just not, even though you don't get the critique, you're just not smart or skilled enough to understand your folly. Get good, scrub.
Basically, these kind of people, they are pains to deal with because they think that they will always know better than you no matter what. This is kind of the other side of the coin when it comes to people who, when an artist, people who say you can't judge this because you don't animate or something like that. This is the flip side of the coin because if they really don't know what they're talking about, you can tell. Like if you're there saying that this brush is not a good brush to use, then you can probably tell that might not be the best critique. It highly, highly depends. You have to use good judgment when deciding, should I take their critique? Or because they know nothing about the subject, should I not take their critique? It's a very fine line.
Oh, this artwork is so lowbrow. I mean, how dare you use a fart joke? I mean, fart jokes are just so, like, for 3-year-olds. How could you do something like that?
But lots of people do, and it's funny. And it gets you lots of views.
When used correctly, a fart joke can be quite amusing.
Correct.
You can block these people. They're giving you critique for themselves and not for your benefit. Their condensation is not worth the critique.
What, you don't like hearing my condescending attitude? Oh! You are so...
Oh, God.
Yeah, here we have the troll!
These just want to push your buttons. They're usually the ones that use the most curse words, by the way. Usually getting just a rise out of people. Now these are the people you don't respond to. Trust me. If they're just bad-mouthing you for no reason and aren't even actually giving you anything.
Kill yourself! Hey everyone, tweet at her. Kill yourself. It's a private joke. She'll get it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But it's just a joke. Even though jokes are supposed to be funny, it's just a joke. Stop being so serious. And here's what you have to say. If you have to explain the joke, there is no joke! Oh, by the way, you were all manually breathing.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for that.
So with these, don't respond. Definitely don't reply. Don't even. Usually you don't really want to post about these, which is something I need to start keeping post a lot. She always responds to the trolls, even though you're not supposed to.
Hey guys, the game.
Again, ignore them. They survive off of attention, so starve them of it. You can report their comments, but besides that, do nothing else. This is the YouTube comment section incarnate. What if I do if it doesn't work? You couldn't stop any of these people. If they all exist, they will always exist, and many of them will never change. Know when to fold. It's prudent to point out their behavior, but if they refuse to change after that about 2 or 3 replies later, then just stop because they aren't worth it.
That's a rule, the 2 or 3 replies rule. If you cannot change their mind, if you cannot stop them within 2 or 3 replies, cut it off. You have better things to do.
All you can do is just be a good creator and or critic yourself and set the example for others to follow.
How to do both correctly. Here are some quick tips from both of us how to be a good critic and good creator.
Okay, easily accepted critique tactics. Understand that criticism will probably hurt. You won't be able to look at your piece of art and or video and piece of writing the same after you get the critique you feel is legitimate. You will look at that work and you will realize the problem and you will be sad. You will look at that problem, it will always catch your mind. You'll look at that piece of artwork, look at that wing of rainbow dash that you drew and always notice that is definitely not perfect and you really should redraw that. It will hurt, but it will help. Don't listen to just one critic, but don't listen to too many. If you look at a bunch of if you get a comment that's only one comment about the artwork, it might not be true, but if you're seeing a pattern where you're seeing different people complain about the same thing, it is probably something you should take a look at. Roll with it. If you think you trust the critic, accept it and see where it goes. Agree with at least half.
This is a tactic.
Just say you agree with half of it, but don't think your work is worth redoing. This way you don't technically lose and the critic doesn't feel like they wasted their time. Humor can soften the mood, so making a joke about the work can be a good idea. Just make sure it's not a snipe at the critic because that will ruin a lot. Remain calm.
Enhance your calm.
Carry on. Don't press send when you're angry. If confused, ask yourself why your critic would say that.
All right. Here's easy giving critique tactics. Anybody can do this. First thing you have to do is criticism at its core is an opinion. There may be some facts in there, but it is your opinion.
Example, people say Skyward Sword is a bad game simply because they couldn't understand the motion controls. That is easily an opinion because a lot of people, whatever. I'm not going to go on a tangent.
Love you, Rabbit Luigi.
Love you, Rabbit Luigi, but sorry, you're wrong.
Here's something. I hate dubstep. I cannot stand dubstep.
And I love dubstep.
Yeah, I like the epic rap battle because I like 1% of dubstep.
You like how
you like DJ Sona.
you like how
You like
they
DJ Sona.
Yeah, I like the model and the animations. I don't really not a fan of the music.
Oh, how could you?
Because I have an opinion.
God.
Okay, that's it. We're breaking up.
Get hands in here!
Hey, people are broken up for pettier.
Still a better love story than Twilight.
Constructive criticism. You hear this thrown all the time around, but a lot of people really don't know what it means. It's like, give me constructive criticism. And then you give it, it's like, no, give me constructive criticism. And it drives me nuts when people don't know. Okay. Constructive criticism, at its core, look for the intention behind something and suggest how it could work better. It's that you are pointing out something that was a little bit weak, but you know what they were trying to go for and say, hey, maybe your message would be a little stronger if you did it like this.
Like your community video before new princesses for you on the way.
Yes, thank you. Oh, here's my favorite tactics to use in criticism. The compliment sandwich. Yes, sandwich. All right. First, you compliment the park. First, in your first paragraph, you compliment the parks that you liked. Say, oh, I like this. This was good. This was good. This was good. Then in the middle, you say your criticism. These are the parts I didn't think worked as well. You need to work. You need to work on this. If you try this, maybe it'll work better. And then you end with reinforcing the part that you liked and maybe some other things that you didn't mention in the first paragraph. This is a very, very easy way to give a critique. Anybody can do this. Just practice a little bit, and we're actually going to show a few examples because a couple of her critiques actually use the compliment sandwich. Now, brevity is the soul of wit. The shorter it is, it's like creators don't like reading long. It's like long paragraphs because
Actually, I do.
Well, a lot of creators don't because. The thing is, the longer it is, basically that's saying, this is what's wrong with this, and it is this long, and that's really discouraging for a lot of creators.
Oh, that's only if you're talking about the bad parts. I actually like reading very long critiques, as long as they have good and bad in them.
Yes. Oh yes. Avoid ad hominem. No name calling. I hate when there's name calling. No name calling. Don't call people stupid. Don't call people idiots. Don't call people names, for the love of all that is holy. Don't call people names, you idiots. All right, and also, never, ever, 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 ever,
Get on with it!
Reference the creator. Do not reference the creator by name, especially their personal life, unless you are complimenting them. I remember that I remember watching a review of, what was it? It was the Ironville episode.
Putting your hoof down?
Yes, thank you. Someone there was a putting your hoof down where someone referenced the personal life of the writer and drew a bad link to something that happened to the writer during the writing process of that, and oh gosh, it was one of the worst things I've ever seen. I'm not going to repeat it right now because, and I'm going to ask you to respect her privacy and don't research it because it was pretty. Just don't research it because she has a private life and we all need to respect those. Now, you can reference the creator if you are complimenting them. That's the only time that you could call. I remember during the Mysterious Mirror Duel review that I only called the writer out by name when I was complimenting her. Great.
Okay, here's a piece of artwork I did, and then that's the critique someone gave me about it. And I thought this was a pretty good critique. I mean, obviously these examples aren't the best, but there's still ones that were pretty helpful. It's very nice and beautiful. I love the effects, but there are some effects that don't look as good. Everything looks like it fits into the same world. And also, not everything is even. Hilda is a little too short and seems a little round. There's also a little too many wrinkles. The back walls look a little flat, and there's too much shading in places and not enough shading in some other places. The shield and sword linking is not that accurate, but I love the painting and how it looks old. Looks amazing, and all of the bad things I said about this art is minor. People might not even notice it. Hope this helps. Obviously, it's not grammatically the best, but it still gives a few little things that I think I could touch up and work on. Obviously, the one I do agree with the most is that the bricks do look a little bit flat. The sword and shield being accurate is kind of subjective, but I do have to work on shading too, so yeah, it was a pretty good critique, but the one after this is even better, I feel.
Yes, this is a compliment sandwich.
Yes. I'm actually quick cross promotion. I'm actually selling this at my booth. Thank you. It's in the vendor hall. Yes, I am a sellout. Thank you very much. A sellout of myself. Firstly, I can already tell you put a lot of effort into this one, and for the most part, it paid off really well. It's cute and charming. Something I've noticed is that a bit of the theme in your works. Hey, I draw a lot of girls with guns, so I have no reason to complain about themes. And the shading looks really well done. I even like how you tried to add extra details to the folding of the cloth and such. However, the drawing is not without its flaws. First of all, the proportions of both Sari and Link feel a little bit off. Mind you, this is one of your better works regarding proportions, but there's some parts that do feel off. Most glaring at proportion disproportion being Saria's asymmetrical shoulders and the slight undersizing of Link's left hand, not to mention Saria's slightly overshortened torso. Another problem is the pose itself. The pose do feel a little bit stiff and doesn't really look like Saria's putting weight on Link's shoulders. I realize that Link is actually really strong, game theory an entire video using only the hook shot as evidence. But I still don't quite see the effect. Overall, however, this is good. Heck, perhaps even your best. So that you can see how that helped with my learning how to do proportions better.
Yes, and
Though I don't agree with the shoulders part because she's at a 3/4 angle, the rest of it was very helpful. See how you can take parts of the critique you know you can work on?
yes. And before we open the floor up for questions, I want to leave you with one final thoughts. And there is no audio.
Weird experience. Technical difficulties. Please stand with
Those audio.
Take the wire.
Okay, well,
I got speakers that you don't read them out.
Josh, check your computer's volume. We were muted this morning as well.
Let's go ahead.
Somewhere below the wire.
Claim so it's old. Okay.
Wait a minute.
The villain.
This is a clip from Ratatouille.
This is a clip from Ratatouille.
In many ways, the work of a critic is easy. We risk very little, yet enjoy a position over those who offer up their work and themselves to our judgment. We thrive on negative criticism, which is fun to write and to read.
You are my idols.
But the bitter truth we critics must face is that in the grand scheme of things, the average piece of junk is probably more meaningful than our criticism designating it so. But there are times when a critic truly risks something, and that is in the discovery and defense of the new. The world is often unkind to new talent, new creations. The new needs friends.
Very true.
Yes. We'll take from that what you will. All right, so questions. You in the back?
There have been several times whenever I'm reviewing or criticizing a piece of fan fiction in particular that I don't have enough good things to say to make a compliment sandwich. What am I supposed to do in those sort of situations?
Be gentle with your critique.
That's all you can. Just don't be the drill instructor there. Yes.
Those are definitely situations.
Not really.
Okay, that's fine. What's the question? Oh, okay, after the panel, sure.
You in the back?
Yeah, this is more of a comment than a question. In my experience, in contrast to what you were showing with the elitist, those artists or writers who are truly accomplished and who really know what they're doing, when I have received critiques from them, they have more often than not had the elite attitude, but instead have been very brotherly and very helpful. And because they know they've gone through that whole process and they have come out the other end and they know what it's like, and so they will turn around and try to make the journey easier for you.
That is exactly how an elitist should write their critiques, because all of them have been where you are. Anyone who has really art experience or writing experience or video experience has been where you are. And as a mentor, as a person who has a lot of experience, they should be acting as a mentor to those who are still learning. That is the best way to go about it.
There's a difference between elite and elitist.
Like actually being elite and acting like an elitist.
Yep.
How do you deal with people like this, say in real life, you being in the military? I know there's some
somewhat of a stigma against Marines? From what I've experienced. Personally, I have a big brother who's in the Marine Corps, and I'm in a women's ball emergency, if I can say that. And so the culture there is very much against this kind of a fandom and being part of that. So if someone like discovers that, how do you deal with somebody on a daily basis acting like one of these times?
Well, it was easy for me, honestly, because I could just say, screw you, I'm popular on YouTube.
Like, screw the rules, I have great hair.
Yeah, it was easier. It was an easy way for me to deal with that. It was just like, I got people, hey, I signed autographs, dude. Back off. I know, it's, the only advice I can give you is just say, the thing is that they're teasing you because they are, I don't like using this phrase, but I feel it's applicable in this situation. They are behind the times. There is this stigma that girls can't like guy things and guys can't like girl things. It's a stigma, and basically it's like you can just sit there and your smug self-satisfaction is like, oh my gosh, these people are so dated that they think that a guy can't watch My Little Pony.
Yeah, tomboys are better than guys.
It's like you gotta just sit there in your smug self-satisfaction. Yes, and here's the original comic that a lot of this was based off of is something called The Hitchhiker's Guide to Critique. If you want to look, there's a lot of things that we took from here. A lot of lot of word for word. This is also a very good way to look at critique. So just
by the artist
Acreon. Yes.
So definitely check out their.
So yes, just go to DeviantArt.
Good job on this.
Yes, The Hitchhiker's Guide to Critique. And while you're there, ask for a Galactic Gargle Blaster.
Yeah,
he gets it. All right, and yes, the art for this, for the 10 bad critics and bad creators is from a Smart Blonde Sarcasm. Yeah, she is Jerry Pete's bae.
She also has drawn some really cute fan art.
Yes, remember the Avatar one?
Yes, the Avatar one is adorable.
Yes. All right. So yes. Any more questions?
Mike. Arnold. When you are making your own criticism within one of your videos, how do you create your jokes without making it too insulting?
Well, easy. I don't directly reference the creator, and you gotta add a little bit of humor to it. Yeah, okay. I know. All right. Here's the biggest thing of maturity. It's like how to tell if you have an immature. How to tell if you have an immature character is if you are unable to laugh at yourself. That is immaturity at its finest. If you can't tell the difference between someone being racist or insensitive or just someone poking humor at the differences, you're immature.
Word.
I've noticed a lot throughout gaming history and how I've played it that a lot of the trolls that mess with you end up being hackers. So what do I do if I block them and they end up hacking and being able to continue messing with you?
That's an interesting
If you get doxxed or something, you can't really do much other than you just gotta stand there and take it.
It's really unfortunate, but sometimes you can't prevent.
Or fight back.
No.
Yeah.
You can't. No, do not
fight back.
Not see the troll.
Dude, like that. Those trolls are like sponge.
Craig
Are like trampolines.
would
The
like
bungee
say,
down and they
most
go
of the
make
people
fun of
from
your
that
back.
type of class. Cass's personalities will end up on.
You mean caustic?
Most of it is really just for fun. It's not, most of the nostalgia critic stuff has actual criticism layered under really over-the-top criticism.
Yep.
So some of the stuff he says are legitimate, and others he's just poking fun at and doesn't really think it's too big of a problem.
You know, sometimes
Just
I think
for fun.
yeah, I think some of my favorite reviews of his is where he reviews something he likes.
Exactly. He likes it, and he doesn't really think his problems are too much of a problem, but he just likes poking fun at it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Yeah,
for entertainment, not really for legitimate reviewing purposes.
Yeah, and so a lot of times I just like watching those reviews because it reinforces that he is doing these because he just likes movies and he just wants to make people laugh. That's why I like his positive reviews.
And that's why I also like most of your, and that's why I like most of your countdowns, especially the negative ones.
I like countdowns.
Thank you.
Because you
You're the representative.
Thank you.
At the bottom of all my videos, I always put comments, hate, smiles, welcome. And that's after, of course, I give thanks to everybody that provides me the asset. It's actually a good way to approach that.
She said comments what?
Back up comments, hate, comments, smiles, hate, and kind of pauses in between. Like I was saying, if you want to get the comments, it's fine. If you want to smile, that's fine. If you want to hate, that's fine. Whatever.
I'm not entirely sure it's a good idea to welcome hatred.
Well, I'm a pretty passive person in general, so when somebody calls me, hey, you're okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's generally not a good idea to welcome hatred. Just, you got. Yeah, just open the floor to comments. That's fine. Okay, you.
I've had to work on several long editing projects for people writing on fanfiction before, and I find it difficult to back out of a project when it looks like that the amount of work that I'm going to have to put in for critiquing gets to be massive. Is there any good way to approach the author to back out of a current project but not burn the bridge?
Well, the way to, all you can do is just be as respectful to them as possible, and whether or not the bridge is burnt is up to them. All you can do is just say, hey, look, if I'm going to be working on this, I'm going to have to be doing a lot of work, and it's going to be sucking up a lot of my time, and that's not something I want, and that's not something I want to do. I'm sorry, but if you're gonna have me work for you, then I'm gonna need something a little bit easier to work with. And if I can give you a couple basic tips right now. Yeah, just give them a couple basic tips, and whether or not they take that well is up to them. As long as you're respectful, as long as you're not condescending, as long as you're not enforcing that, hey, you're a bad artist, you're a bad creator. Just be nice, but be honest. Yep.
As an artist and a writer, and particularly a writer, I've always struggled with criticizing my own work. So how can you give any tips on that?
I struggle with criticizing your own work.
Yes, as I have a hard time knowing whether or not it should or not in my own eyes.
That's normal.
Yeah, that's completely normal, and a lot of times you're just gonna have to seek people, because a lot of times you in times with like art and stuff, you really can't self-critique.
To look at my
Right,
work.
last question. Last question. You in the back?
Well, I have a problem where I don't get a lot of comments on my YouTube videos, and I would rather hear people say negative things than nothing at all, because at least then I know there's something there. Because I feel like everyone is just watching it and then don't take it in or whatever.
Well,
you know where I'm getting at?
Yeah, it's that you just want you want a little bit of validation that the work that you're doing is worth it.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that if you need to remember that if you're creating something, you have to create it because you're passionate about it. You shouldn't create it because you're looking for comments. Yes, I know that validation is nice, but
It really is.
the validation really is nice, but you really need to remember why you are doing those videos. You're not doing it for the validation. You are doing it because you love doing it. You gotta remember that. You just gotta keep pressing onward with that. And sometimes you're just gonna have to plug yourself in certain areas. You gotta show friends.
To grow your audience, you have to keep creating. When I first started on DeviantArt, literally almost all I did was do little tiny Star Wars drawings and then photograph my Legos. I would like do little Lego poses and things, but of course I didn't get like very many comments. I got like 1 or 2, mostly none at all on each picture because I took a lot of pictures. But when I started doing some more art, I just kept going at it, kept submitting my art to different groups on DeviantArt to get noticed and things like that. That's how your audience starts growing. You just have to keep working and keep drawing.
Do you know how long it took me to get where I was? 7 years. It took me 7 years to get where I was, to get where I am right now.
That's a lot of ease.
You've got just persistence is a virtue.
That's half my life.
That's a lot of ease.
All right, that's it. Thank you all for coming.